Hi, this is Janice Westlind, and my presentation is called Sulfolane Contamination in North Pole, Alaska. Can Government Fix the Problem? Since I'm a resident of North Pole, Alaska, I've been very concerned with the unprecedented problem of sulfolane contamination in our groundwater. In this study, I'm going to examine how our local, state, and federal governments came together to remediate and resolve this crisis. The problem is that a chemical compound called sulfolane leaked from an oil refinery over the course of many years. Sulfolane infiltrated our groundwater, and in a more unusual geographic problem, it has become trapped under permafrost in various places. A sulfolane spill of this size and magnitude hasn't happened anywhere else. And what's unusual about this location is that even most residents do not have piped water in their homes. They rely on individual wells that use groundwater. As I did my research, I found out that sulfolane was an unregulated chemical when the problem arose. Sulfolane spills have been very rare. Sulfolane has never contaminated drinking water before the North Pole incident. There is no legally permissible limit to the amount of sulfolane that could be present in drinking water in the state of Alaska or by the EPA. So my research question became, what is an acceptable legal limit for this contaminant in drinking water when there's been no precedent for such a spill? Scientists had very little historical information to consult regarding sulfolane in public health. It is mostly unknown how sulfolane may affect humans when it has been ingested, and many residents have been exposed to the chemical for years. Our policymakers needed to establish a maximum limit on sulfolane allowed in drinking water to protect public health. What is sulfolane? It's a chemical compound used in the oil refining process. Sulfolane is stable in water, but will dissipate when exposed to air. It can be removed from soil by aerating the soil. However, sulfolane has also been found in plants that have been irrigated with contaminated water. The problem started in 2000 when 300 gallons of sulfolane spilled at the Williams, Alaska petroleum refinery in North Pole. However, sulfolane also leaked during other parts of the refining process. The Alaska State Department of Environmental Conservation discovered that a groundwater plume existed in 2009 and that it had traveled far from the property. DEC believes that sulfolane leaked for many years from wastewater holding lagoons at the refinery. The lagoons were lined with plastic, but there were numerous holes in the liners. The concentration of sulfolane in the water was high. Flint Hills Resources purchased the refinery in 2004, and they knew that sulfolane had leaked. However, Flint Hills thought sulfolane only existed on the refinery property. However, sulfolane had traveled in two directions, to the north along Badger Road and northwest along the Richardson Highway. It has been mapped at 3.5 miles long and 7 square miles. Over 600 homes are in the affected area. According to the Safe Drinking Water Act, all states must protect drinking water quality and develop their own program to do so. Ours is called the Drinking Water Protection Program, or DWPP. All water sources and potential hazards to water must be mapped, and then individual municipalities can use measures such as public education, easements, and spill prevention plans to protect water. ADEC manages the plan and has worked with local residents to perform testing on their individual wells and to do site remediation where possible. In 2012, Alaska nominated sulfolane for study with the National Toxicology Program, and it was accepted. NTP did initial testing on animals and found that sulfolane can impact the nervous system, liver, spleen, and kidneys. The Flint Hills refinery wanted to establish the legal maximum limit for sulfolane in drinking water at 362 parts per billion. At that time, only 3 private wells tested at that level. DEC wanted a level of 15 parts per billion, and over 300 wells tested at or above that level. 2 Alaska legislators who supported the oil industry agreed with Flint Hills. The refinery shut down operations because of the costs of remediation, which ran into millions of dollars, plus legal costs. Representative Tammy Wilson, whose district is North Pole, said that DEC was too stringent and is responsible for the refinery shutting down and the loss of jobs. Former Representative Pete Higgins of Fairbanks claimed that the refinery was forced to shut down because of DEC. He is seen here campaigning for lower taxes on the oil companies. State employees at DEC felt uncomfortable and pressured by legislators, so then Governor Sean Parnell stepped in. Parnell was a former attorney for oil company ConocoPhillips before he became governor. He advocated for DEC and said that public health was a priority, and the dissenting legislators backed down. In the rare instances of sulfolane leakage in other areas, some maximum standards have been set, but sulfolane has not contaminated drinking water in those locations. The EPA director addressed the North Pole problem himself and declared that the limit should be 16 per billion. After the refinery closed, it continued operations as a fuel storage site. Flint Hills attempted to sell it, but there were no buyers. Flint Hills demolished many of the structures in 2016 to reduce the value of the property and lower their property tax payments. DEC declared that the land has been remediated from sulfolane, but testing will continue. To solve the drinking water problem, present Governor Bill Walker assisted an agreement between the state of Alaska, Flint Hills, and the city of North Pole. North Pole would expand their small municipal water system to cover all impacted residences. Over 600 properties will be hooked up to the system, which just started construction in February of 2018. After the sulfolane problem, the City Council of North Pole developed their own source water protection plan to guard against future contamination problems. However, this was too late for the community of Moose Creek, which has water contaminated with PFCs from nearby Eielson Air Force Base. North Pole immediately offered to extend their municipal system again, since they discovered during the sulfolane problem that this was the best solution due to geography and costs. Our local government learned a great deal regarding water contamination and cleanup and prevention. The sulfolane issue has been a pioneering effort, and hopefully the research involved can help prevent future problems. EPA expects that the sulfolane plume will dissipate over time, and testing will continue. Unfortunately, the question of public health remains unanswered, since long-term studies on human health effects are still incomplete. The studies are expected to be released in 2019. Thanks for listening. Here are the references that I consulted during the course of my research.